Meet Sarah. 2 years ago, she was stuck in a dead end job, dreaming of starting her own business, but too scared to take the leap. She thought staying put was the safe choice. But here's what nobody talks about: Sarah was already in pain. Every Monday felt like a small death sentence. Every missed opportunity ate away at her confidence. Studies show over 80% of us regret the chances we didn't take, not the risks that went wrong. Hey everyone, it's Jay with Life Next Level, and today I'm going to show you Sarah's complete transformation and the two types of pain that changed everything: the pain of staying versus the pain of growing. Because once you understand this choice, you will never look at your comfort zone the same way again. And hey, before I move on, please hit that subscribe button if you're feeling stuck, if you're looking to grow into a life that you love, of passion and purpose. That's what we're doing here. So let's talk about the slow death of your dreams. What happens when you choose safety over dreams for 3 years straight? Let me continue this story about Sarah, fictional Sarah, okay? She sits in the same gray cubicle every Monday morning, watching that clock hit 9 a.m. like it's announcing the start of another prison sentence. And somewhere deep in her chest, she feels that familiar weight just pressing down. Have you all ever felt that? Think about that every Monday. Maybe you do. I have. But Sarah tells herself, hey, this job is stable. It has good benefits, a regular paycheck. Her parents are proud that she works for a real company. She used to have ideas and big ones. Now, those notebooks sit buried in her desk drawer, collecting dust and disappointment and regret. Do you have this? What if I had applied to that startup last year? What if I had accepted that job and moved away 3 years ago? What if I had taken on that freelance project and taken it seriously? What if I wasn't such a coward? Those thoughts, they circle her mind like a vulture, picking at whatever little self-belief she has left. She scrolls through LinkedIn during lunch, and she sees former classmates getting promoted at companies she never had the guts to approach or apply to. And each success story feels like a personal failure. And here's the crazy one: Sarah's unspoken pain is a common human experience. And her friends notice the change first. Sarah used to be the one with crazy weekend plans and spontaneous road trip ideas. Now, she cancels dinner plans because she's too tired or saving money. But really, she's just too bitter to even fake being happy at this point. Her conversations become complaints about her boss, her workload, and her life. People stop inviting her places. She tells herself she doesn't care. But the isolation feeds the resentment growing inside her. It's a vicious cycle. Then comes the physical symptoms, and they come slowly. They just creep in. And all of a sudden, Sunday night becomes anxiety night. Her stomach knots up around 6 p.m. when she realizes the weekend is almost over. And man, let me tell you, being there, your Sunday's basically ruined. You have like a one-day weekend, and that's Saturday, if that's not ruined by overthinking on shit. And Monday morning brings the actual dread. Not just the normal, I wish it was Friday, another case of the Mondays feeling, but genuine fear of facing another day of slow suffocation. She starts having trouble sleeping. Her shoulders carry permanent tension. Headaches become weekly visitors, if not daily. And all that chronic stress, it all compounds over time, and it crushes her confidence when she needs it the most. Here's the really scary part. These small daily compromises, they compound like interest. Each morning, she chooses to stay quiet in meetings instead of sharing her ideas. Each lunch break, she spends scrolling through social media instead of networking. Each evening, she sits on the couch with a pizza and watches Netflix instead of working on her side hustle or business idea. And these decisions, they feel harmless in the moment, right? Maybe you just need another night. Maybe you just need another day, another week. You just have to figure some things out. But they are building a prison around you, one bar at a time. Sarah's creativity, that dies first. Then her ambition. Then her hope. She becomes someone who settles, who accepts good enough, who stops believing she even deserves better. The woman who once dreamed of running her own company now struggles to speak up when the printer runs out of toner. Her world gets smaller and smaller until fitting into that cubicle honestly just feels normal. That dread, it's part of her normal life now. And 3 years passed like this. 3 years of choosing the familiar pain of the unknown possibilities. 3 years of small deaths disguised as stability. Sarah looks in the mirror one morning and doesn't even recognize the person staring back. This isn't who she wanted to become. This isn't the life she planned, but somehow staying safe ended up becoming the riskiest choice of all. The damage compounds daily. Her confidence hits rock bottom. Her network shrinks. Her skills stagnate while the industry moves forward without her. What started as a temporary safe choice becomes a career-limiting trap. The very security she thought she was protecting disappears as the world changes, as hungrier, younger candidates pass her by. And Sarah realizes something terrifying. Staying stuck had created more damage than any risk she took could have ever caused. She'd been so afraid of temporary discomfort and rejection that she had chosen permanent dissatisfaction instead. But something was about to change everything. What made Sarah finally choose pain over comfort after 3 years of suffering? It happened on a Tuesday morning in March. Sarah was sitting in her usual spot, staring at a spreadsheet that meant absolutely nothing to her. She couldn't care less when a manager announced another restructuring. And y'all know what that means. 3 more people got laid off. People who thought they were safe. People who Sarah knew and are in similar situations. People who played it safe just like her. And that's when the illusion of safety started to shatter. There was no such thing as security. Her secure job could disappear tomorrow, and she'd have nothing to show for those last years except regret. The breaking point came that same week when Sarah ran into her college roommate at a coffee shop. Emma was glowing, talking about her new consulting business and the clients she'd landed. Emma said, "Look, I was terrified to leave my corporate job, but staying felt like dying slowly. I felt trapped." And those words echoed in Sarah's head for days. It literally some of the same words that Sarah was using and exactly what she was feeling. She realized her comfort zone wasn't protecting her at all. It was all a trap. It was trapping her. And as research shows, when opportunities vanish, regret spikes. But Sarah, and she turned that regret into fuel for growth. She had to do something because she couldn't take it anymore. Sarah made the decision on a Friday afternoon. No backup plan, no safety net, no gradual transition. She walked into her manager's office and quit. Her hands shook as she handed the resignation letter over. Her voice cracked. "Sorry, I can't do that." The fear was immediate and raw. Boss questioned it, of course. And her brain screamed that she was making a huge mistake. And before we move on, please say that I am advocating getting out of your growth zone, or getting into your growth zone and out of your comfort zone. I don't want anyone to get in a worse spot about this, but make a plan. So let's get back to Sarah. The first month was brutal. One night at 2 a.m., Sarah sat at her kitchen table. She couldn't sleep because everything was going on in her head and was just surrounded by bills, calculating how long her savings would last. Her parents called constantly, asking if she'd come to her senses yet. Her mom suggested she apply for retail jobs just to be safe. Friends questioned her timing. Everyone had opinions about her poor decision-making skills. The financial stress felt absolutely overwhelming some days, and she questioned her own sanity. But here's what surprised her. This acute pain was different from the chronic pain that she'd been suffering and endured for 3 years. This pain had a purpose. This pain meant she was moving forward and not stuck, instead of slowly dying inside. The stress response system in her brain was firing, releasing cortisol and adrenaline, but it was motivating her to take action instead of paralyzing her with dread and fear. Sarah's first freelance clients came through a LinkedIn connection that she'd neglected for years. The project, it was small. Redesigning a local restaurant, their social media strategy. She charged way too little, and spent way too many hours perfecting every single detail. But when the owner called to thank her and said her bookings had increased by 30%, Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced in years: pride in her work. Each uncomfortable conversation led somewhere unexpected. Sarah reached out to former colleagues who had left their corporate jobs. She joined networking groups that made her nervous. She pitched ideas to business owners who intimidated her. Most said no, but a few said yes. And here's the thing: each rejection taught her something, and each success built her confidence. The growth mindset shifts, that really happened gradually. Sarah stopped viewing challenges as threats and started seeing them as opportunities. When a client requested a service she'd never provided, instead of panicking like she would have if she was still in her 9 to 5 in her cubicle, she figured out how to deliver it. When a proposal got rejected, she asked for feedback and improved her next pitch. The fear of failure transformed into curiosity about what she could learn from each experience and what she could really do. 6 months later, Sarah was earning more than her corporate salary. She was happier, but the real transformation, it wasn't financial. It was personal. She woke up excited about her day every day instead of dreading it. She had energy for friends again. Her creativity, it all returned. The woman who used to complain constantly now had stories of interesting projects and challenging clients. The temporary growth pain had led to lasting fulfillment. Sarah's transformation reveals something crucial about human nature and the choices that we make when we're facing uncertainty. So I want to wrap this up by saying you have two choices ahead of you: the slow death of staying or the fire of growing pain. Remember, interviews and studies show that the vast majority, it's like around 90% of regrets, they stem from what we didn't do and not what we tried and failed at. Think about that. The things you didn't try haunt you way more than the things you attempted and messed up. Any rejection you could have gotten. So where's your Sarah moment? What area of your life feels safe, but is actually eating away at you, eating away at your happiness? Maybe it's that relationship you won't have an honest conversation about. Maybe it's the career change you keep putting off. Maybe it's the creative project collecting dust in your drawer or in your head. Look, you're going to feel pain either way. Choose the pain wisely that you want to feel. What's one step you'll take today to embrace growth pain instead of staying stuck? I appreciate you taking the time out to watch this today. I hope it had a profound impact on you. Again, we're going to be talking about this for a while. I want to help people get unstuck and start to live the life they love. But it's a learning experience and it's a growing experience. You're going to have to take some uncomfortable steps, but you can get there. So we'll do this together. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.